Straight ahead on 12 News.
Please, stop resisting. Stop resisting.
Training Day in Brooklyn Park. 12 News gives you a behind-the-scenes look at becoming a police officer. Then, why the long lines today in Brooklyn Center? But first, a Maple Grove company on the verge of a medical breakthrough.
We've worked so hard. Since 2007, this is the only thing we do.
12 News starts right now. Sleep apnea is an exhausting problem affecting millions of people each night. Hello, everyone. I'm Mike Johnson.
And I'm Alexandra Renslow. Untreated, the sleep disorder can lead to a risk of heart attack, stroke, and diabetes. Now, a Maple Grove medical device company is on the verge of a breakthrough treatment for sleep apnea that no longer involves wearing a nighttime mask.
This is the Inspire Therapy neurostimulator. This is implanted underneath the skin.
Tim Herbert is one step away from FDA approval on a neurostimulator device.
It is a pacemaker type technology
Designed to provide a good night's rest for those with sleep apnea. It's a condition where the airway collapses, interrupting sleep throughout the night.
So when you breathe in, we stimulate the hypoglossal nerve, and that moves the muscles of your airway forward.
The device's electric stimulation opens up the airway, allowing air to enter the lungs. It's an alternative treatment.
Some patients have issues with claustrophobia.
To the commonly used CPAP mask.
And it's still our first-line therapy for most cases of sleep apnea. Unfortunately, we know that as many as 30 to 50% of patients, despite us working with them, are either unable or unwilling to continue using the therapy.
Neurologist and medical director Dr. Jason Cornelius was one of the leading researchers in the latest clinical trial for the neurostimulator device.
I was very pleased to see how well the patients did.
Results published recently in the New England Journal of Medicine showed a 70% reduction in the severity of sleep apnea.
Being able to use this therapy on a nightly basis has allowed them to sleep better at night. They feel more refreshed in the morning. Better able to function during the day.
There just is a lot of people that just are not able to tolerate either the mask or the pressure. So Inspire Therapy is going to be a strong alternative, we believe.
For Tim Herbert and his team of 23 employees in Maple Grove,
we've worked so hard. Since 2007, this is the only thing we do. It's very exciting for us.
They're a month away from presenting data to an FDA panel in Washington, D.C. It's the last step in bringing their therapy to the market.
We're looking for an approval sometime in 2014.
If the company gets FDA approval for its device, the CEO expects his company will more than double in size in the next couple years.
There's new plans to develop farmland in Brooklyn Park just south of Highway 610. Minneapolis-based Ryan Companies hopes to turn the land into a new business park. The site was once slated to be a housing and office development called Astra Village, but those plans never moved forward. Ryan now hopes to attract medical technology and office users. Ryan has been busy building along the 610 corridor. It broke ground last month on a research and medical manufacturing facility for Olympus Surgical Technologies. It's also working on Target's Northern Campus expansion project.
Twin Cities home builders are coming off their best year in nearly a decade, and soon there will be more new homes to build in Plymouth. But one particular plan comes with numerous concerns about traffic. Kay Hovnanian Homes wants to build 71 homes in a development called Brynwood in northwest Plymouth. Residents in a newer development to the south called Spring Meadows were concerned about a proposed street that would connect the two neighborhoods. They say it would create more traffic and make it dangerous for their kids to cross the street. In the end, the council decided to eliminate the connection by creating a cul-de-sac. Councilmember Bob Stein voted against that plan, saying it would, quote, create a precedent to isolate neighborhoods from each other. You will soon see new police officers patrolling the streets of Brooklyn Park.
8 recruits come from all walks of life and are currently undergoing an intense training program. And 12 News reporter Cassie Bonstrom visited the academy today, where she learned more about how they are preparing for the job.
Normally their aggression is probably whoever they're fighting with.
Inside this training room, 8 men are practicing some new moves.
On your side, those on your side.
It's Defensive Tactics Week.
You want to come, please, right here.
10 hours a day of learning how to restrain,
Please stop resisting.
subdue,
Right down to a knee.
and handcuff a suspect.
Good, good.
More than 150 applied for a spot in the Brooklyn Park Police Department.
Please.
These 8 made the cut.
They were the cream of the crop of the applicants we had.
Police, put your hands behind your back.
Training officer Kent Nielsen says a successful Brooklyn Park officer has certain qualities.
They need to be intelligent. They need to have common sense. They need to be able to communicate.
Tell them who you are.
Police.
Yep.
The recruits all have diverse backgrounds. 2 have military experience, 1 has a law degree.
Watch that elbow.
4 have held other law enforcement jobs.
I like the style of the department. I like where the department's going. I like the philosophy of the department.
Anthony Buckley interned with Brooklyn Park Police in 2009. After 4 years in the National Guard, he's back and ready to wear the badge.
Making an impact on the community, engaging people, showing them that there's another side to law enforcement other than just enforcing laws.
You're here.
But before all that,
This elbow can come in.
they must first make it through the training.
It's brutal, beating each other up every day.
And that's no easy task.
When the recruits finish their 6 weeks academy, they'll spend an additional 4 months out in the field with a field training officer. That's when they'll put these skills to use.
And we got to get them.
By early summer, these recruits will be full-fledged officers. They'll join 101 others in keeping the peace around town.
All right, let's do a domino.
In Brooklyn Park, Cassie Bonstrom, 12 News.
Their motto is making Brooklyn Center lots better, and today lots of people lined up to get their hands on a sandwich. Take a look at this line for the new Schlotzsky's Bakery Cafe that opened up at Shingle Creek Crossing. Of course, there was an especially good reason for the long line. The first 100 people who purchased a 6-pack of Cinnabon rolls received 1 free sandwich each week for the rest of the year. For the Texas-based Schlotzsky's chain, it's a rebirth in Minnesota. In 2004, 8 restaurants were wiped out by bankruptcy.
We moved from out of state, so when we came here, we had a lot of opportunity to go to different places, but when we saw this location and the growth here, we were excited about it.
This is the second Twin Cities location. Another one is in Edina. Coming up, a standout student uses a wardrobe accessory to serve a greater purpose.
Then later in sports, the Maple Grove girls hockey team makes a push toward the top of their conference.
But first, the winds ease on Friday, then the forecast shows more snow on Saturday.
It's never too early to learn about money management.
Today, 8th grade students at Robbinsdale Middle School got a lesson on financial fitness. Officials with Top Line Credit Union and Hennepin Technical College teamed up to show the students how to balance a checkbook. They also gave them some tips on how to save for college.
And if we start learning about it now, it is much easier as we become older and we go to college.
Some of the students are already making wise decisions. Several students told us they are already putting away money for college.
I have like 3 bank accounts, and like 1 for college, 1 checking, and 1 savings. So I want to learn how to like control those myself.
I want this program to teach me how to save money so I won't have to worry about it when I get older and I could just go to college.
The financial planning course is funded by the U.S. Department of Education. The financial experts will follow the students for 7 years. In these cold winter months, scarves play an important role in keeping us warm.
But today's standout student from Champlin Park High School found a way to put them to an even greater use. Here's Delane Cleveland.
Find the value of n.
By her own admittance,
Okay, so p is x.
math isn't Cassie Diazevedo's best subject.
I like the class, but I'm not very good at it, to be honest.
What she is good at is being a well-rounded student with a 3.6 GPA who also plays on the tennis team and takes part in various clubs.
It'll help me get interested in different things too, I think, which is good for career choices.
But this Champlin Park senior also has a creative side. The scarf around her neck was the product of her own doing.
It's not a very cool thing to do as a teenager, but I've always loved arts and stuff, and since I'm not good at drawing, I think that crocheting is a really good way that I can express my artistic side while actually making something that's useful.
For $15, she sells them to classmates and teachers who have incorporated them into their wardrobes.
Once I put it on and once I got used to it, I'm like, this is marvelous.
However, as part of a school project, Cassie had the proceeds from the scarves serve a greater purpose.
$5 goes to the yarn purposes, and then the other $10 goes to Feed My Starving Children.
Feed My Starving Children is a hunger relief organization that packs food locally and sends meals to countries around the world.
She came up with this project on her own, designed it, created it, organized it, led it, and then allowed it to be something useful for another organization. I think is wonderful.
In total, Cassie's scarf sales helped raise more than $600 for Feed My Starving Children.
That just makes me feel like so happy, like that I can help people that I don't even know.
For Standout student Delane Cleveland, 12 News.
Cassie says the $600 she raised will help feed a family of 6 for a whole year. Meantime, she said next year she's going to either the University of Minnesota or to Central Florida, where she plans on majoring in psychology. It's great to see how so many kids are thinking of other people, not just themselves.
And great work. They look wonderful.
They look neat. Coming up, first for the city of Plymouth.
See what's coming to the Hildy Performance Center. But first, our weekly ice fishing tip with Terry Tuma. Jay Wilcox has that and more when we come back.
Jay Wilcox with sports now, starting with basketball and a local team that is always up there in the top, and there they are again this year.
Yeah, this is a crew that doesn't maybe have as many big names as some of the teams that they've had before, and hard to believe, but a little bit under the radar actually for Hopkins basketball. They don't have a top national recruit like Apple Valley's Tyus Jones, at least not yet, and it's admittedly not the most talented team ever for the Hopkins boys basketball program, but make no mistake, this Royals team is pretty good. Hopkins is 12-1 entering Thursday night's game against Cooper and ranked second in Class 4A. Their only loss is a 6-point game against top-ranked and defending state champion Apple Valley. It has been a good start for the Royals.
I'm feeling pretty good about it. We've really been working hard in practice, and it's been showing in the games lately. We started off kind of shaky, but that's how we always are before Christmas. After Christmas, we really started coming together as a team, and we're playing really well right now.
As a team, we're very unselfish, so we share the ball, we find the hot hand. Lately, we've been fast breaking pretty well, playing pretty well defense, and we've been rebounding really well.
Hopkins is a team full of guards without a true post presence, but it hasn't slowed their high-powered attack. Players like Stephen Sharp and super sophomore Amir Coffey join seniors Jake Wright and Kamali Chambers to make this a dangerous team. Never satisfied coach Ken Novak Jr. grudgingly admits it could be a good team by season's end.
I don't think defensively we're as good as we should be right now. But we do have potential. I mean, the kids can do it, but they're gonna have to really sit down, they're gonna have to really start grinding out. And, right now it sometimes feels like I'm the only guy grinding out, but they're working at it.
After taking on Cooper, Hopkins meets St. Thomas Academy Saturday before getting back into Lake Conference play Tuesday against Eden Prairie. It's a big week for the Maple Grove girls hockey team and what's turning into a very solid season for the Crimson. Tuesday night, Maple Grove pulled out an impressive 2-1 win over Northwest Suburban Conference leader Blaine on the Bengals' home ice. The teams had tied in their first meeting. The win moved Maple Grove to 8-2-2 in conference play, where they are tied for third in what's become a tighter race. It was definitely a good performance.
So fun. We just went out there with a mindset that we're not going to play scared. We're going to play to win this game. And we knew that Blaine was a really good team. They only lost one in their conference so far, and we tied them last time. So we had a really good mindset that we were going to win and play our game.
The Crimson tuned up Wednesday for this afternoon's makeup game against Andover, a team that's 1 point ahead of Maple Grove coming into that contest. Besides the stronger teams in the Northwest Suburban, the Crimson has faced good teams like Minnetonka and will face Benilde and Hopkins too. That will come in handy when they step into postseason play in the unbelievably tough Section 6AA tournament.
Yeah, I think we scheduled a lot of tough games so that we'd be prepared for that and that we'll be ready when we come to play them in sections.
Playing a strong schedule is definitely going to pay, especially in the section that we're in. We're going to have to play the top teams anyways, so we might as well play them and get better.
After Thursday's Andover game, the Crimson hosts North Metro on Saturday. Well, there's still plenty of winter left in this ice fishing season, and pro angler Terry Tuma is back again this week to help us catch more fish. Here's this week's Channel 12 ice fishing tip.
Last week we talked about the correct way of landing a walleye through the ice. Today let's talk about when should we set the hook. If you're using a jig and minnow, if you're using a jigging shad wrap, a vertical jigging spoon, and what we need to do then, if you feel that real, shall we say, distinctive thump, then you want to set the hook right away, but that walleye has sucked in that bait. If it's sort of a tick where it's real subtle, and then what you want to do is just raise up your rod tip just a little bit, just a tiny movement. Raise it up and even go to the side a little bit and make that walleye think that maybe that food source is getting away, and then just raise it up a little bit more, and then you're going to start to feel, when you feel that walleye is really on, then you want to take and set the hook. When you're setting the hook, either with a thump or that tick, set it hard, but you have to drive that hook into that bony jaw of that fish. You do not want it to come off. If you just constantly just raise it up and reel in slowly, there's a good chance you don't have a good hook in that walleye's mouth, and it's going to cost you a walleye. Give it a try. It's very easy to do, and what this does, it just increases your odds of making sure you catch all the walleyes that you want to catch on that given day. And make sure you keep just enough walleyes. In fact, any fish throughout the winter, just enough for the frying pan. Always practice catch and release.
Thanks very much, Terry. Who knew you had to have such good hands
Yeah,
to haul them
sounds
in,
like
too.
a little bit of teasing the walleye, too.
Right.
Thanks a lot, Jay.
You're welcome.
Still ahead, a new best places to live list that includes some local suburbs.
Plus, something new in the works coming to Plymouth. We'll be right back. It already has music in Plymouth. Now there will be a new act taking over the Hildy Performance Center this summer. The same group that puts on the Basilica Block Party is now planning for a concert on Friday, June 6th. The event manager hopes to bring in a top musical act and attract 3,000 to 5,000 people. Such an event would be a first for the city. Meantime, Plymouth officials are humming a happy tune after the city was named one of the best places to live in Minnesota.
That's according to a new poll by Movado Real Estate. Plymouth came in third on the list. The real estate company looked at things like unemployment rate, household income, home prices, and high school graduation rates. Plymouth's graduation rate is very high, 96%. Mayor Kelly Slavic says the local schools get an A+ in her book.
We have great schools in Plymouth, and people move to Plymouth specifically for the schools. And so we do have 4 school districts, and so we have, a very thriving education community that really gets involved with the schools.
And a shout out to Maple Grove, too. They also made the list. They tied for third place with Plymouth. Chanhassen came in first. Not too bad. That's all the news for us. Thanks so much for joining us.
Stay with us. Community Corner is coming up next, and we'll see you again tomorrow.